mentor in depth. But basically, for the purpose of Amara, one of the things that we're using is the local WP. So you can get that from localwp.com. Yomi, I wanted to find out if you've downloaded the local host on your website.
Yes, I was able to download it here. That's what I'm using.
Okay, that's fantastic. All right. So, Amara, so we are using localwp.com, like the website, the local host you can get from localwp.com. And also you can download it. If you have any issues, you can let us know as well.
Okay.
Okay. So basically with web design, we said that web design is basically just designing websites. And nowadays we have different kinds of websites. Everybody needs a website these days. If you have, nowadays we have what we call e-commerce. You know, people now want to have their stores online, whether they have physical stores or not. Having an e-commerce website is always essential. So if, for example, you sell clothes, but you want your clothes to actually go out there, you actually need a website. Because when you have a physical store, it's only people who go in and around your store that can actually see what you have. For example, if I have a store in Victoria Island, it means that only people in and around that area can actually have access to my products, can come into my shop and see what I have. But when you have e-commerce websites, it's easy for me to be in even London and see your products or your store, even where I am in Nigeria. I can see clearly what you have. I can see the kinds of products you have. I can see if your products are my size. I can see if your products are what I like. I can also reach out to you to see if certain products are available or ask when next the product is going to be available. So having an e-commerce website has sort of improved things generally. You know, it has given you an online platform. It has made you able to have this presence online. Because one of the things I always tell people whenever they ask me, why do I need a website? And I always used to tell people, you know how you have a lot of competitors, you know, physical competitors. For example, I own a store and let's say I sell clothes and I have a lot of competitors, you know, in and around me, physical, in terms of physical stores, people go to them physically. I can build my online presence and make my online presence one of the strongest out there. It's straightforward, easy to do once you have an understanding. And the moment you build your online presence, you know, people can actually reach out to you because they just like your products and because you have built a reputation for yourself. So in situations where you cannot compete with, welcome Oluchi, so nice to have
Thank you
you.
very much. Nice to hear from you again.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I hope you don't have any difficulty logging in or getting into the platform.
I did do.
So sorry about that.
I'm good now. It's okay.
All right. Okay, so we're still basically doing a recap of all the things we've learned so far. We're talking about some of the importances of having a website in this day and age. And, you know, we spoke about how, you know, basically having a website is so important now because your online presence is everything. You know, these are some of the things you're going to be telling your clients because I've had clients who have come to me and said, why do I need a website? You know, I've pitched to them and they've been like, I don't think I need a website. Why do I need a website? And with like 5-10 minutes of you convincing them, they've bought the idea. So basically, having a website and having an online presence is almost everything when it comes to technology. It's the importance of tech nowadays. You know, it's very beneficial. You can have an online store. You know, you can have an online website. So nowadays, you know, yes, we know that Google is now a go-to place whenever I need to know about something. But now with Google, your website can actually be high up the rank with good SEO, search engine optimization. Whenever people search for something, you can go above your competitors. So you're the first link that they see. And when they go into the website, you don't want to build a website for your client, and then people who go into the website are not impressed at all. So you basically have to make sure that your website is as classy as possible. There are people who I've worked with that, in all honesty, the website is classier than the company itself. You know, and with that, they've been able to win over a lot of customers. And when you win over customers, you make money. And when you make money, it builds your brand. So sometimes you have to build your websites in such a way that it's going to be very attractive to any kind of person. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing in this course. We're going to be building different kinds of websites with this course. So Oluchi, I wanted to find out if you've been able to download the localhost.
Yes, I have.
Okay, any challenges so far? Have you started working with anything?
No, I couldn't because I didn't get your the recording you promised. So I just got stuck at downloading it. I couldn't do much
Okay,
more.
okay, you could have put on the group that you had an issue. I would have sent I just assumed everybody had no issues with it, so I just moved on. If I had known you had issues downloading, I would have sent it as promised. But that means I will have to send it again. I'll send it this time. I'll send it to you this week.
I've been able to download it, just I couldn't.
Okay, you've been able to
Please
download
send it to me too. I will need it.
Okay, no problem. I'll send it to you. I'll send it as well.
Okay,
Okay, so you've been able to download it, but
Yes.
you've not been able to
do
use
anything.
it.
Yes.
Okay, with it. Okay. Let me see if I can show you some of that before the class ends. Okay. So basically, in the last class, we got started with structures. We started building an amazing structure, and let's see. Let me try and share my screen. Okay, so let me just quickly show you the localhost first. Okay, so can you see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I can
what is the point you got stuck? Oluchi, did you come to this page? Did you get to this page? You can ignore all these things. It's usually like a blank page. Hello, Oluchi, can you hear me?
Can hear
Okay,
you.
okay, did you get
Yes,
to this
I got
page?
to this page. Yes, I
Okay, you
got
got
to
to
this.
this page. Okay, so basically from this page, this is the first thing you need. You need to add a local site with this plus button underneath. You need to add a local site. So when you click on it, it's going to ask you for the name of your website. So I can call my website. Can anybody give me a name to use? Any name at all? Okay, since I'm helping Oluchi here, let me call my website Oluchi. So my website is going to be oluchi.com. So I'm just going to put the name here. So when I do that, I'm going to click on continue. So I use the plus button to set up my site. So I put the name of my site, then I'll click on continue. So it's best to stick with the preferred environment. This is you don't really need any knowledge of this. This is just the back end, but you can stick with preferred and click on continue. Then when you get to this page, set up WordPress, you can then put in your username, any username of your choice. So you can put that, and then you can also put in your password. It's also important that you store this password somewhere because you're going to use it to log into the website. So you can leave this WordPress email as is. So the only two things you need to change here is your username and your password. Then once you click on add site, it's going to automatically, start loading your page. It's going to start structuring your page. It's going to start putting it together. So it may take a while to actually do. Then once it's done, it's going to ask if I want to make any changes to my computer. You can click on yes. Then it's going to show installing WordPress, adding WordPress, and it's going to set up your system completely. Let's just wait for it for a while. We can see it here. It's already loading. So it should take roughly like 2 to 5 minutes basically to set up any WordPress site. So anytime you can work on different websites with this platform. So anytime you want to add a new website, you can just click on this plus sign and add something new. All of these things here are just local sites that I've worked on. So basically, these are just the local websites that I've worked on so far. So basically, let's give it some time to. So automatically it has added. This is it. It's showing here. So once my website has been added to my local host, it shows me these two things. Now it shows me an admin area and it shows me open site area. So once I click on the admin area, it's going to take me to, let me just click. So I'm just going to click on this admin area. Then let me share my screen. Let me stop sharing and share my tab. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when I'm done with that, it's going to take me to this. It's going to load now. It's going to show the username and password. So this is the field. So all I need to do is just put my username in and also put my password as well. And I can log in. So once I log in, it takes me to the dashboard. So if I want to also delete, if I'm done working on the website and I want to delete, I can just come here and just delete it. Or if, for example, you forget your username, you can just come here and delete it and start the process all over again. So was that a bit helpful?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get started with where we stopped in the last class. So in the last class, we talked about structures. And we started working with this fantastic, amazing structure of this website. So our goal is to build all the structures of this website. So in the last class, we started working with this. And I know that towards the end of the class, we sort of rushed it. So we're just going to go over that area again. So when you come to the dashboard, like I said before, you need to work with plugins and themes, basically. We've not started working with themes yet. We're just working with plugins. We just work with plugins. But today we're going to learn a whole lot more, there are a lot of plugins that we're going to work with today. So basically the first plugin that we installed was the Elementor plugin. That's one of the things. So we just came to plugin and we went to add new and we just searched for Elementor. So this is the first plugin that you should install when you just type Elementor in full, and this is the first plugin that you should install when you're working, because this is what we're going to use to build our website. So we have this already. It's going to load and Elementor is going to come up. But while we're waiting for it, apart from having a plugin, we also, okay, so now this is the Elementor. So we need to install and activate it. So apart from the Elementor builder, another plugin I want us to also download and work with is this essential add-ons for Elementor. It's developed by WP Developer. So it's going to help us build our Elementor websites. So essential add-on for Elementor is also a very important plugin I want us to work with. So you can also install and activate it once you're working with it as well. So let's just get started with it. So in our pages, we want to build a page. Like I said in the last class, when you're working on websites is just basically a collection of different web pages. So now, for example, when you're working with a website, you need to have a home page, which is the most important, web page of every website. So you have to work with the home page. Sometimes you have to work with the About Us page. You also have the Contact Us page, and there are other pages. So for our website today, we're going to be working with this particular website. So you can see that they have the shop page, we have the About page, and we have the contact pages. So you can also ignore this page because it's just designs that are in there. But basically, these are the pages that we're going to be building for our website today. So now, when I come to my pages, I'm going to click on all pages. Now, all pages is going to show me a list of all the pages I have on my website so far. So in the last class, we built a page called home page. And how did we build it? What we did was, let's build a contact us page. We just came here and we added a new page. You can either come here or come here to add a new page. And when you do that, it's going to ask you for the title of your page. So I can just come here and put contact us page. The contact us page is there already. So all I need to do is just publish it. And the moment I publish it, it shows me the link. So this is the link to the page. So I can come here and I can view the page. This is the contact us page. Now remember that in the last class, we installed theme, and that's why it's giving us this design already by default. So because of the theme that we installed, it did that over its one. So last time we searched for a food theme, 199. It has 499 different food themes. So from all of this, you can install any one of them that you deem fit. Now, it's important that you actually pay attention here because this is going to be important for your first project. We're going to be building a food blog for our first project. So basically, you can just install and activate any one of these themes. So if you want to build something else, you can easily just come here and search for something else entirely. So let's go back to our pages, all pages. Now we have home page and we have the contact us page that we just built now. So we're working with Elementor and we want to, basically edit with Elementor. So the first thing we need to do is we can either come here and click on edit, or we can go straight to edit page, edit with Elementor. But I don't want us to get stuck because if you are building your page for the first time, you're not going to see edit with Elementor here, just like this contact us page. Now you can see homepage has edit with Elementor because we have worked with Elementor. We've worked with the page using Elementor before, but our contact us page is new and we don't have any edit with Elementor page. So for our homepage, we're going to go through this route. So we're going to click on edit. And when we click on edit, it's going to show us this edit with Elementor page. If you're building it for the first time, it should show edit with Elementor page up here. So I'm just going to click on edit with Elementor and it's going to take me to the Elementor builder straight away. Now this is a new page. That's why it's showing us edit with Elementor up here. So for the first time, it's going to show this particular edit with Elementor button here, but subsequently the edit with Elementor button is going to be somewhere around the middle. So now we are on the Elementor builder. I want us to design this particular structure again because I know that in the last class we probably rushed it a bit. So let's take our time with it. Now, when we're working with this particular website, one of the things I showed us in the last class was how to inspect. So basically, when you're inspecting, you can right click and then click on inspect. The inspecting allows you to know the CSS and HTML structures that are being used on a page. All right, so I'm very sorry, Amara. Does this sound strange? I know this is your first class. I hope this doesn't sound strange so far.
Yeah, I'm trying to go.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully when you watch the video, the next video that they're going to send to the group, it would all make a lot of sense. But just try and follow up. Don't worry. If you have any issues, we'll go back again. We'll talk about the dashboard again.
Okay, sir. Okay,
so let's just go over it again one last time. So now basically we're on the Elementor, we're on the inspect feature. And the inspect feature has divided our page into two different parts, two different portions. Now, like I said in the last class, when you're working with structures, it is important that you understand, how to number your structures. So in the last class, we talked about the fact that this is one structure and this is another structure moving from left to right. And we also said that this space could be a structure or it could be empty. So here we can work with two structures or we can decide to work with three. But let's just say we're working with two structures for this particular, section of the page. This is one structure. This is another structure. That's from left to right. Now, from up to down, this beef is one structure. The big burger is another structure. Why? Because they are they have different characteristics. Their characteristics are not similar in any way. Yes, they're using the same font. Yes, they're using the same color, but they're not using the same font weight and also the same font size. So because of that, you have to treat them as two different structures. Now, if you come to these next two lines, this and this are the same in terms of characteristics. They are similar and they are together. So you can treat this as one structure, or you can even decide to treat them as two different structures. So in this class, for this particular class, we're going to treat it as two different structures just for the purpose of accuracy. So you can see that this is one structure, this is the second structure, this is a third structure. Sorry, this first line is a third structure, this fourth line is a fourth structure, and then this line is also a structure, and this one as well is a structure. Then within the structure as well, we have 1 and 2 from left to right. So this and this is two structures. This is one structure, this is another structure. So from left to right as well here, we have two structures. So I want to ask a question. For this particular section, because we're going to be building it as well, how many structures do you think we have from left to right? Anybody can answer. From left to right, how many structures do you think we have?
3.
3 structures. Okay. Thank you very much, Oluchi. You're correct. Okay, so from up to down, how many structures do you think we have? That's from okay, for this particular first structure. You know, you said that there are 3. This is one structure, this is another structure, and this is a third structure. So how many structures do you think that we have from up to down for this particular first structure? I want someone else to answer. No, don't answer, Luchi. I want someone else to answer. I want Yomi to answer. Welcome, Mr. Isaac. Welcome, Mr. Taiwo.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Yomi, go ahead.
2.
thank you.
Okay,
I mean, can I
says
see it
we
once
have
more? Like,
2 structures.
what's it?
Okay. Now you can see. How many structures do you think we have?
Okay, I think we have 3 there.
Okay, so Amara thinks we have 2, and Yomi thinks we have 3. Mr. Taiwo, please. Okay, Isaac, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I
Would you like
also
to
think
answer
we
the
have
question?
3.
Yes, please.
How many structures from up
Yeah,
to
I
down
think
do you think we
3
have
from what I can see too.
for this particular first one?
It's
think
like
that-
he's Are you asking me?
3 structures. Okay.
Should I answer the question?
Okay. Okay, Mr. Taiwo, do you want to say?
No. Don't worry,
As well.
please. Don't worry.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Mr. Taiwo, you can answer the question.
I didn't see those objects very well because
Okay.
I'm not actually at
Oluchi,
home right now. I'm
How
just
many
trying
structures do you think we have?
to hang around. So.
I think it's 3. Can you hear me?
It's actually 3. It's actually
Okay,
3. I'm
okay.
seeing 3 there. 1, 2, 3. 3.
3.
Okay. Okay, can anyone? Okay, so first of all, it's not 2 structures.
Maybe
Yes, I can hear
4
you.
or
Can you-
something.
Okay. So most
That's
of
what
the
it's
house
like.
There's
have gone
probably
with
3 or 4 sort of.
3 structures. We've gone with. Okay, Isaac, why do you think?
I said it's sir.
3 or 4? Okay, I'm asking you. Sometimes they're actually 4 structures. Isaac is correct. Just characteristics. Now, for example, if you look at this image, this particular image, when I hover on it, it goes up. It's bouncing.
Yes.
But this circle behind it is not bouncing.
Bouncing. Mm-hmm.
It's static. So it means that they are totally different images.
Yes.
If the circle was bouncing with it and it had similar characteristics with this, then we'll say that this is one structure. But because it is moving and this one is static, it means that these two structures have to be catered for separately. So we're going to be catering for both of them separately. So this image or these two images are two structures. Then select your food is one structure, and then this text here is the last structure. So we have 4 structures here on each of these rows. But let's not just go about it. Let's put it into practice. Is anybody confused so far?
Oh.
No,
So
no.
let's put it into practice. So if you come to this website, I want us to, we built this one already. Let's move and use a different structure. So we said that it's 3 structures from left to right. So let's select this particular structure. So it's going to take us we have 3 structures. Okay, so the first structure is this, let's work with this first. So we inspect, and when we inspect it, let's look, okay, now we've inspected it. Let's inspect it. It shows us the image that was used. So let's click on the image and let's save the image. So I'm going to save the image on my system. You can save it, brothers. So I've saved the image. Now, can you see that when you click on the image, it doesn't show any background? So let me just, when you hover on when you save the image, it doesn't show any orange background. So we're going to have to get our orange background separately. So you can get images from different places, but for today's class, I'm going to show you how you can get stock images later. But for today's class, let's just use Google. So before the class, I got this, I just, Googled orange circle, and I got this amazing circle. So I'm just going to save this circle as well. So I'm going to save it. So when I come to my Elementor builder, okay, we said that we have 4 structures. So I'm going to look for this inner section, and I'm going to drag and drop it here. So I'm going to delete this because it's side by side, and I don't need a side by side image. I'm just going to delete the second one, and I'm going to duplicate this one into 4 different structures. So let's work with the image. Now the first 2 are images. So let's drag and drop this image here. And we're also going to drag and drop the second image into the second one. Now, when we click on this first image, we're going to put the orange circle first. Okay, so let's put the orange circle first into what we've downloaded. So basically, I just have to click on this particular choose image widget, and I can come to upload files, or I can just drag and drop what I have downloaded into so I can just drag and drop it. So from here, it shows that I have downloaded it. So all I need to do is just drag it and drop it. It comes automatically into my WordPress. So let's click on the orange circle and let's insert it. So now we've inserted our orange circle. We might need a better orange circle because this particular orange circle might not be looking exactly how this one is looking. But let's just work with this for now. So the second thing we need to do is we need to put the second image. So we're going to click on this image. We're going to select choose image, and we're going to select this particular image. So now, how do we overlay it? How do we overlay this particular structure on top of this structure? So now, every Elementor widget has an advanced feature called margin and padding. So whenever you are working with an Elementor structure, like I said in the last class, we have this content, we have style, which has to do with how it looks, the design, the width, the height, the color, and all those things. And then we have advanced. Now this advanced has a lot of features that we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about this advanced feature. We're not going to talk about content and style because advanced is one aspect that a lot of people used to run away from. So I'm going to try and make it as easy and straightforward as possible. So today we're going to be talking about this advanced section in Elementor. So now let's work with the first part of this advanced feature, which is your margin. So when you're talking about margin and padding helps you to work with spaces, all right? It helps you to dictate the amount of space that we have inside or around a structure. So one of the ways that we move around structures in Elementor is using this feature or these two features called margin and padding. So let's start with margin. So first of all, what I need to do is I need to click on this link values button. Now this link values button, what it means is that if I click on a particular feature and I put 2 here, it's going to affect all other positions. So for example, it shows top, right, bottom, and left. So what we're doing is we're dictating the amount of space that we have around the structures on the left side, on the bottom side, on the right side, and on the top side. So this is what all of these things are going to do with the margin. So because I want to just move the object, I want to just move this object up. So it means that I'm only going to be working with just one of these aspects. So let's click on the link so that it frees up all of these spaces and allows us to, move just one of the aspects. So I'm just going to look at top. So if you notice, as I increase the top margin, it's making the product go down. Why? Because I am increasing the margin. I am increasing the space between this boundary and the actual image. So the more I increase it, the more space we have at the top of the product, at the top of the image. So I'm increasing the margin between the top corner and the actual image. But that's not what I want to do. I want to take the image higher up. So what I need to do is I need to reduce it. I need to reduce the difference or the the space between the top corner and the image. Now, by going into negative, what I am doing is I am increasing the space between the bottom and the image. So by going into negative, I'm doing that. It's just the same thing as positive for bottom. So I'm just going to be clicking on this, and it's going to be taking my image higher up. So the more I do, the more it increases the space between the bottom and the actual image. So it's going to go higher up. So when we come to our image, now, if you notice, this particular circle is not as big as this one because it is not accommodating the image. Now, let's see if we can get a hold of this particular circle. So it's not allowing us to do that. So you can just quickly come to your structure here and just look for anywhere we have IMG. It might be a bit difficult for us to get this particular structure. So we might need to just search for a bigger circle. So I can come here and just click on this particular one. This one looks slightly bigger. So let's save the image and save. So we are going to come back to our Elementor and let's try and replace the image that we have on this so far. So let's do this. So let's replace this particular image. We're going to drag and drop this into this, and we're going to select this one. Now, it's not the same color, but it can still help us get the job done. We can always look for how we can get that exact color later. So like we can see here, we want it to be, let's just show a little bit of the circle underneath it, because one of the things you have to learn from now is perfection. If you want to make your work look neat and clean, you have to learn the concept of perfection. So I'm just going to keep increasing it until I have that slight small space in between. Now, the only thing we need to work with now is just the hover. Like when I hover on this image, it bounces up. We're going to learn that when we talk about the animation. So there's a portion. You can also see that in motion effects. Okay, so here it's called motion effects. In some other tools, they call it animation. So motion effect, and we're going to work with all the different ones. We have the fade in, we have the zoom in as well. We can zoom in, we can do all of that. We can bounce in as well. So all of these amazing animations, we're going to work with them as well. So this is what we have so far. Now, it's very similar to this in many ways. So we've already worked with this structure already. Now it's two structures overlaying on each other. And how we did that was we used this amazing feature of margin to do that. So any questions so far? Was it a bit technical? Was it confusing in any way?
Hello.
Yes,
Oluchi.
go ahead.
Okay, so where I got a bit confused is when you say drag image and drop. I don't know where you drag it from. Is it that when you save an image to your system,
Yes.
you now see it on the Elementor to drag and drop?
Okay, so basically when you downloading, when you download anything on using Chrome in particular, it usually works with Chrome. I know it doesn't work with File Explorer and some other browsers, but when you work with Chrome, for example, as soon as you download something, it shows you it shows you what you have downloaded at the bottom part of your screen. I don't know if that is relatable. Can you see the bottom of my screen? Can you see the downloaded images here? I don't know if you can see
Put
this
your
downloaded.
cursor on it so that I can see what you're
Yes,
talking about.
my cursor is on it. Can you see it? For example, this orange circle here.
I can't see it. Oh, okay,
Yes,
great.
this particular. So once I download on Chrome, Chrome would, show me what I have downloaded here immediately while it's downloading and after it has downloaded. It will just show it here. It will show me all the images I've downloaded. Here, this particular bottom part of the screen will save about 5 of your latest downloads. I can cancel it and I can show all my downloads. So once I have downloaded it and it shows here, all I need to do is come to the image in question. So let's just go to content and choose image. I can just pick it up from here and just drag it. So it's going to show me this text, drop files to upload. So it has this drag and drop functionality that allows you just upload things by just dragging and dropping it. So I can just drop it here and it's going to upload it. Another way that I can do this is I can just minimize my tab a bit, let it just like cover like half of the screen, and I can have my image, let's say somewhere around here on my desktop, and I can just move it from there into the browser. So you can drag and drop from anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the bottom aspect. You can just minimize your browser, let it be half of your screen, and let the image be somewhere around here on your desktop. You can now move it from here into your browser. As long as it's on this page, you will see that drag to drop, drag to install, drop files to upload. And once you do that, it's going to upload automatically. Another way that you can upload files is with this upload files button. So you can just select files and I can just come here and click on it. And once I do that, it's going to upload automatically. So I don't need all of these duplicates. So let me just delete them. Was I able to answer your question, Oluchi?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay. But basically, WordPress has a drag and drop functionality. Elementor Builder generally has a drag and drop functionality in the sense that it basically just allows you to drag and drop any widget. So I can just drag any widget I want here and drop it. So that's basically the concept of using the builder. It's drag and drop friendly. So we basically built this structure and we've worked with that particular structure. So the next one is select your food. So like we did in the last class, we want to get the details of this. We can just inspect it as well. Since it's text, we don't really need HTML. This is the HTML. We only need HTML for images majorly. But all of these things, I really hope we have a lot of time at the end of this course so that I can just basically introduce you to some of the concepts of HTML and CSS. I know it looks strange for now, but don't worry about it. It's just a pattern. Once you are used to it and familiar with it, trust me, you have no problems at all. Because as a web designer, you would need to have good knowledge of HTML and CSS so that when you go out there, you have knowledge of it. You can now say you're a web designer. So we've inspected select your foods. Let's get the color of the text first. Copy it and come to our Elementor builder. And we're going to drag and drop the heading. We're going to paste it here. So I'm just going to come here and put, let's change the color first. Okay, so I don't think I have. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and copy. And I can come to Elementor and change the color. Notice that the color is under the style. So color, fonts, and all of those things are usually under your style. So let's go and look for the font weight, 800. Font size is 30. And I hope you can see it here. Like font size here shows 30. Font weight here shows 800. Then what else? Okay, we also need the font. Okay, I can't find the font, but I'm sure if I search well, I'll be able to see the font. So let's come to Elementor and just make our font Nunito Sans, which we've been working with previously. So let's just make it Nunito Sans, and then the font size is 30, and the font weight is 800. Okay. Content. Select your food. Let's see how it looks here first. Okay, so now we have select your on one line and we have food on another line. Now this is one of the ways that you learn some of the basics of HTML. Now in HTML, there's what we call the break function. So just like in normal break, we have a car going, a car is moving, and all of a sudden it breaks. So what we want to do is we want to break it in such a way that, let's first of all center it, so it comes to the center. But we want to break it in such a way that select your will be on one line and food will be on another line, just like it is here. So what we're going to use, we're going to use the break tool, or should I say the break keyword. So all you need is just the open bracket, the arrow bracket, and then put BR in the middle. When you put BR and this open bracket, automatically it deletes food. So we're just going to close it and it will take food to the next line. So inside your title, just put the BR function wherever you want your line to end, where you want it to break, so that the next line will have the start of the next word. So that's just all it takes. So if I just take out this BR, you can see it has a full line. The moment I put this bracket and BR, it deletes. The moment I put this bracket and B, it deletes the words after. So even if I put any word inside here, it's not going to show here because of this bracket and B. So the moment I close it with an R and a B, you can see it takes it to the next line. So let me just delete this. So this is what we have here. And the last structure is just basically this structure. We can also inspect it as well. And we can see all the things that we have here. So we have here the font family uses Lato. The font color is this, so we can just save it. I'm sure when you look at this particular structure, the first thing you might say is, or you might ask, is this actually black? Now this is why color codes are very important, because the black color code is very different from that particular color code. So all I need to do is just move my text here. Then let's come here and copy this. Let's copy it and let's paste it here. And then let's look for the details of it. So the font size that we're going to be working with is 15. The font size we're working with is 15. Typography, always under style. So the I think it's Lato. I'll confirm. I think it's Lato. Yes, it should be Lato. So the font size is 15. And then the font weight, also very important. Okay, the font weight is 400. You can see that here, 400. So let's come here and just make the font weight 400. So the color as well. Here's the color that we need. Okay, this is the color. So it's 443737. So you come to Elementor. This is text color. So now if I make this black, can you see that black is 000000? That's the color code for black. But that's not the color code I want us to work with. You can see that this is the color code and it's still black, but it's a shade of black. Or you can say like it's a shade of brown. It all depends on the perspective you're looking at it with. So let's also move it to the center as well using this. Now let's come here and we can see that after this line, lorem, we have a break as well. So we can always do that here as well too. So we can just come here and put ER and close it. And it takes our word to the next line. Now, because it's two lines, you can see that there's a space between these two. This first line and this second line has a space. And that space is bigger than the line that we have, the space that we have here. So there's what we call line spacing. So we can also look for line spacing here. And let's just look for line spacing. I don't know if it's going to be difficult to find, but let's try and find it. So the line spacing or line height, yes, this is it here. So we have 1.6. So we have to come to our Elementor and come to style, come to typography, and we're going to look at line height. So we have line height here to be 1.6. Now it's showing like this because they used EM. So EM is different from PX. So they used EM. They didn't state it here, but it's EM that they used. That's why it's giving us, that's why it was giving us, it was so close together. So the moment we do that, always remember to, update it. There's also what we call line spacing. That's the space between each line or each word. So come to style again, and come to typography, and we have letter spacing. Sorry about that, letter spacing. That is always usually not so easy to find because that detail is not always placed here. But I'm sure if we calm down, settle down and look it through, we might be lucky, we might see it. But let's just leave that aside for now and just increase the letter spacing a bit. Yes, let's just leave it like this. And always remember to update. So the moment you do that, you can now preview your changes here using this button. So let's see what we've done so far. So we have this amazing structure so far. This is how it looks. It's not yet perfect, but we're getting there. It's not perfect at all, but we're getting there. The font weight as well of this particular structure is different from our own font weight. Even the line spacing looks bigger. Okay, maybe because it's tab. Let's expand it a bit. Okay. So it still looks big. So we have to also work on that as we move on. But so far, so good. What do you think about our structure? Do you think our structure works? Do you think it's close to what we're trying to build? And do you think it's difficult for you to implement?
It's close enough
Okay.
and not so difficult to implement. We
So
practice.
it's very straightforward. We practice as well, exactly. So it's something you're going to have to implement with practice. Okay. Any other person? What do you think about the structure so far?
It's close to the what we are trying to do. It's close.
Is it easy? Is it straightforward to implement? Is it something you feel you can implement yourself
Yeah,
as
it's
well?
not that hard.
Okay. So it's basically time for us to have our first assignment. So I know that Yomi and Oluchi have installed the local host, and I know that the local host is. We also did a little video on how to get to your dashboard, how to create a website and get to your dashboard. So I'm going to be sending this particular website, and I want you to try and implement this feature, this particular feature, this particular feature, and this particular feature. So all three. Now they are all similar. So once you do this, you can easily just duplicate the features. So these three features, then you can ignore this for now. I'm going to show you how to do that. Then also design this feature. So you're going to have to design this particular feature. That's this whole place. The three of them. They're also similar features, so you can also duplicate them as well. But you have to design this particular feature and just design one of these features. You don't have to design all three. Just design one of these features. So you can either design this one, or this one, or this one. Anyone is fine. Is that an okay assignment? Is it a difficult assignment? Are we going to have any difficulty doing the assignment?
Yeah, I now have a little bit of difficulty doing it because I have to start all over to watch the video of the former
Yes.
class in order to meet up.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So I'll try and just run us through the assignment, how we can do the assignment for your sake, so that you can so that you don't have any difficulty designing it. So you don't have any difficulty designing basically. Oluchi, you wanted to say something as well.
You were asking if it would be difficult. I was just going to say that I'll try as much as I can, and then if I have issues, I can always drop it on the group WhatsApp message.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
That's
for assistance. Okay.
Okay, so just try as much as you can, and let's see how we can move from there. But deadline, we need deadline for this assignment. We need a deadline. We don't just want, so anybody can set a deadline, but it's the first deadline I hear that we're going to stick with. When should be the deadline for this assignment? Should it be the next class? Should it be tomorrow? Should it be Monday? You can design it and just put it on the group. I just want you to design and put on the group. You can just take a screen record or a video and just put it on the group. This is what I've designed, and just put it on the group. So is Monday a good time to submit? You can work on it on Sunday and just submit. So basically, I want you to submit something on Monday. It doesn't have to be the 2 assignments. It can just be one. Just pick any one that you think is straightforward and submit something on Monday. That's it, basically. Is Monday a fair time for everybody apart from Amara? Amara will have a different deadline. But I hope Monday is fine. Okay. So,
Monday is fine.
okay, Monday is fine then. All right. So we're expecting it on Monday. So now let's talk about the Elementor builder. So there are 2 things I want us to talk about today regarding the Elementor builder. I want us to talk about all of these things that you have here, which are called widgets. Like if you see here, you can see search widgets. All of these things are called widgets. Okay. And the second one I want us to talk about is the advanced setting of every structure. So let's first of all talk about widgets. Now, all of these widgets are very essential in building a website. So a widget is just basically like the building block of every website. So when you're building a house, for example, you need blocks. You need to have blocks on blocks on blocks and keep on building with blocks. That's the same way widgets work. So you need widgets and widgets and widgets to keep on building your structure. So every structure you create needs a widget to fill it up. So you're basically filling your structures with widgets. You're putting widgets into your structure so that it can come together as a beautiful website. So all of these things that you see here are just basically structures. They're just basically widgets. This is a text widget that has an icon. It has an icon here. This is basically just text. This is also just text. This is a button widget. This is an image. Then, this is basically just an image with this circle behind it. This is a text. This is also a text. This a text as well. This is a text. This is an image. And it's just basically a text and a button and another button on top of an image. So all of these things are not weird in any way. All the structures that are here on this website, we've talked about them one way or the other. We've talked about buttons, we've talked about images, we've talked about text, we've designed text, text so far. So now let's talk about the other widgets that we have. So whenever you come to the Elementor builder, we have what we call the basic widgets. All right, these are the basic widgets that we have on every website. And then we also have the pro version widgets. Now, this pro version widgets, they usually come when you purchase the Elementor plugin. Now, the Elementor plugin is free, but if you decide that you want to upgrade your plugin, then they are going to give you a whole bunch of things for free. All of these features come for free. But there are also ways that we can get something similar to all of these things. For example, we have Facebook embed or Facebook page. We can get a plugin that can help us embed our Facebook into our website. And we're going to try and do that in today's class. So we have that feature here. Then we also have the general widgets. All of these widgets are free. It's only the pro widgets that actually come at a cost. So we have these general widgets and we have all of these ones. They are all available. Now you can see HTML here. We're going to be working with HTML using this particular widget. So when it's time for us to learn HTML, we're going to come to that particular feature and work with it. Then we also have, WooCommerce. We're going to talk about WooCommerce in the next class. And then we also have the WordPress widgets. Now the WordPress widgets are never very fine. So we hardly use the WordPress widgets. The WordPress widgets don't come with a lot of customization features. You can see it's not as beautiful as the options that we have, the wide range of options that we have using this image Elementor widget. So we hardly use WordPress widgets. Okay, so let's just start with the basic ones. So now we've talked about the inner section widget. We said that the inner section widget just allows us to create inner sections within a section. So if, for example, I want to do up to down or side by side, I can use this inner section widget and just place it here. Now, by default, it comes with two side-by-side widgets. Two side-by-side sections. We have this one on the left-hand side, and we have the one on the right-hand side. But now, how can we manipulate these widgets? So, if, for example, we want to make it just one instead of two side-by-side, we can just delete one. Now, where you delete is also very important. Now, if I want to delete one, I can just come here and delete it. But if I want to duplicate what I have here, now it depends on how I want to duplicate it. Do I want to duplicate it such that it's going to be right beside it, or I want to duplicate such that it's going to be underneath it? So if I duplicate it from the middle, anywhere in the middle, it's going to give me a side-by-side structure. It's going to duplicate it to the side, and that's not what I want. I want to duplicate it such that the new one is going to be underneath it. So I need to come to this particular portion of the website, come here, these dotted lines, and duplicate it. So the moment I duplicate it, it's going to be on top of each other. So we're going to have two structures, one on top of the other. So that's how you can duplicate any structure, any section, inner section. So now once I've done this, I can now drag and drop any widget that I want. So if I want to drag and drop a text, I can drag and drop a text, and it's going to be straightforward and easy. So like we did for this particular structures that we worked with, we talked about manipulating text. Now, we said previously that every widget that you pick has this three settings. It gives you the opportunity to set the content. It gives you the opportunity to set the style, and it gives you the opportunity to have some advanced settings. The advanced settings are usually the same for every widget, but the style and the content depend on the widget you're working on. So for example, I'm working on a text. So the style that I have will be the color, the typography, text stroke, text shadow, and all of that. We have things that are relating to texts. So it allows you to edit the style of text. So everything relating to text is going to be in your style. So you're going to style your text. But if, for example, I drag and drop an image and I come to the style section, I'm not going to see text color, font color, anything text. Why? Because they're totally different. So now for the style of your image, you're going to see things like your width, the width of your image. Do I want to make it a small image? Do I want to make it a big image? We're also going to see max width, which is similar to the width. And we're also going to see height. So the height of the image as well. Do I want to make it very tall, or do I want to make it a small image, or an image that is perfectly placed, a square image? So you have that feature, you have that functionality. So you also have the object fit. Do I want it to fill the structure like it's doing now? Do I want it to cover the structure? You can see there's a slight change. Do I want it to contain? There's a slight change in size, between these three different features. Now the fill is going to fill this whole structure. The image is going to fill it up. So it's going to fill it, while the cover is also going to cover it, but it's going to cover it in a wider way. That means that it's going to extend to even outside the border. Fill just means it's going to fill the content of the structure, while cover means it's going to cover it, which means it might extend to the outside of the structure. And then we also have contain, which means it's just going to contain a certain area of space. Then we have also all of these other features. If you want to put a border, for example, around your image, you can also do that. So let me just use fill here and just put the type of border I want. So I put a solid border. Now the width of the border, like I said when I was talking about padding, if I want what I'm doing to affect all four, I can leave this grade, let it have a gray background. And once I put something, whatever I do is going to affect all other three sides of the image. So if I click on 2, it's going to affect it. If I click on 3, 23 is going to affect it. Now we can see that this is how it's going to look like. But if, for example, I click on this and I say I just want it to affect the left side, you can see it just gives me this particular ability, just the left side will be affected. So this is also another important structure that you need to be conversant with. Anytime you see something like this, you can see that it's a link. What it does is that it links all four of them together. So what you do for one is going to affect all other ones. So let's just make our border kind of small or noticeable. If I also want to change the color of my border, I can do that as well. The reason why you're learning all of this is just so that it will help you manipulate your way around, WordPress. This Elementor builder is going to help you manipulate your way around it. So in case you see a particular structure, you don't get lost. Oh, they did their image in this type of way. How do I do my image that way? It just helps you to, learn. Your opacity as well. Do you want it to fade away? Do you want it to be bright enough? You can also do that as well. Then the CSS filters, we're going to learn that when we talk about HTML and CSS. Let's not go to CSS filters just yet. So we talked about the border type, and we talked about all of that. So now there's an amazing feature that we need to learn about when we're working with WordPress. Now, one of the things you need to know about this particular website is when we hover on it. Now, this is called hovering. When you put your mouse on top of an image, it's called hovering. So now, once I hover on it, it goes up, it elevates. So when you come to your Elementor builder, and I click on this image and I come to style, remember we're still working with style, and I come to this particular place under my style that has normal and hover. So now it allows me give the hovering a particular animation. Now you can see here it has hover animation. What it means is what's going to happen when I hover on it. So here you have a lot of options. Let it pop. So when I come here, can you see it pops? The moment I hover on it, it pops. If I come to push, the moment I hover on it, it pushes. So all of these features are actually things that you can just work with. So you can just come here, rotate is also there. So the moment you come, it just does a slight rotation. So you have a lot of animations that you can work with. You can grow. So can you see this is the particular feature that they have on their website? Okay, it's not actually, it goes up, but here we can just put it as, grow. Let's get bigger. You can also shrink it, let it go in. You can just play with all of these features and it can help you find the best one for what you're looking for. So let's just leave it as grow. So grow is what, so always remember that you should update. So when you update, it's going to refresh this page and you can see now that we have this particular feature. So once I hover on it, it just gets bigger, it grows. That's what we call hover animation. So we have this normal and we have hover here. So these two things are very important when you're dealing with WordPress. When you're dealing with the styling of an image. So we basically talked about the styling of an image. We've talked about the styling of a text. And we've also spoken about the inner section. So let's talk about text editor. So now the text editor is just basically, let's drag and drop it first. It's just another way of writing texts. But I always use the heading widgets because the heading widgets is always a nicer feature to style than text editor. But you can use any one. I can basically just, style this particular text in any way that I want it to be styled. I can, move it to the center. I can change the color, but sometimes it doesn't respond. So can you see now I've changed the text color, but it's not giving me a response. That's the text editor. It's not giving a response. If I change this particular one, it doesn't, okay, it works fine, it works perfectly. But the text color now, for example, is not working the way I want it to. That's why I always like to pick the heading functionality, because the heading functionality most times is very responsive. So for example, this particular text editor, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it gives problems, sometimes it doesn't give problems. So that's why it's always best to stick with heading when you want to write a text or you want to, write a heading. It's always best to stick with heading. So let's take a break so far. Is everybody following? Is anybody lost so far?
I'm following.
Okay. So basically, I just want us to talk about the job opportunities available to people who are web designers and web developers as well. So basically, last class we talked about the business, having this as a business and how I have used this to set up the business of my own. But I understand that not everybody is cut out for business. I know everybody believes in businesses. Some people believe in 9-to-5s for different and various reasons. So the first question I want to ask is, how many of us here have businesses of their own? And how many of us have, because one of the things you should do before you leave here is you should create a website for your business if you have a business. And how many of us have 9-to-5s that we work with? Or how many of us even do both? Because I know that some of us have 9-to-5s. Like Oluchi said, she works at a bank. I know that she has a 9-to-5, but do you have a business on the side? So how many of us just, you can just tell us about your business or your 9-to-5. Do you prefer having a business or having a 9-to-5? So let's start with anyone who wants to talk.
I'm a business person and I do part-time jobs too.
Okay. So do you feel it is necessary to have a website for your business?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so are you going to be ready to create a website for your business before the end of this course?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind us asking what business you do, in case you have customers as well here on this
Uh-huh.
platform?
I'm into underwears for unisex
Okay.
underwears.
Okay,
Yes.
so one of the things that we're going to build is we're going to build an e-commerce website for you. So you're going to have to build an e-commerce website. Now this e-commerce website is going to allow users to come to your website, buy any of those underwears. They can even pay for it online. You're also going to give room for people who probably want to buy in bulk or who want to partner with you as well on your website. Now, also
Oh,
your number, your email, and of those things are going to also be available so that people can contact you as well.
okay, sir.
Payment gateway is also going to be there so that people can pay directly into a payment gateway. Because as a business, it's always good to have a bank account for your business. But if you don't have, no problem. Sometimes you can use a website for that particular, to solve that problem. Just have a payment gateway that people can pay into with their cards or through transfer. And when they pay into it, you get the money at the end of the day. So we're going to be working on that. All right.
Okay. Thank
Oluchi, you're welcome.
Okay, I'm actually not doing any business right now.
Okay.
I tried poultry sometime, but I got burnt and I ran away.
You tried what?
Poultry,
Okay. Okay.
poultry.
Oh. Okay. Okay. You ran away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think business is something you want to go into anytime soon, or you just want to, just focus on working?
No, I'd like to have a business.
Okay. Okay. So if during the course of this program you think of any business idea, no problem. We can create one for you for your business. But you don't necessarily even have to have a business. You can even have a website for your personal self as well.
Can't hear
Can,
you.
can you hear me?
I can't hear you any longer.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you any longer.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can anybody hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, okay. Okay, so if I could, Olichi, can you hear me?
I
Maybe-
can now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so if along the line you think of any business idea, you can let us know, then we can create something for you relating to your business. But also, you don't also need to have a business before you can do a website. You can also create a website for yourself. You can have a personal portfolio website, a website that has, some of the things you've done. It has your resume on it. It has, some things. It also helps you stand out when you go for interviews. When you have a website, it's something that, it shows that you pay attention to details as well. So that's also something that we can look forward to doing as well, creating for you, maybe a personal website. But if you also have a business, we can create one. Or you have a friend's business, you can also create one for your friend or a family member as well. So, okay, Isaac. Isaac, can you hear me? Or Yami, can you hear me?
Hello, I have a question.
Okay, what's the question, Ma?
And what if I want to do like freelancing? How can I do it?
Okay, freelancing, there are so many platforms that you can start as a freelancer. So basically, as a freelancer, there are a lot of websites. Sourcing is one of those websites. On the website, you can just create your gig, and through that platform, you can start freelancing. People would start looking for you. You can source for jobs and things like that. Also, we have some other platforms as well. We have freelancer.com, we have fiverr.com, and a whole lot of other websites that also do this particular feature of freelancing. So what you need to do is you need to go to those websites, or you can also you should start with sourcing, because sourcing is actually very good for freelancing. You can go to sourcing's website, create a gig. In other websites, you can just create your own, you can create your profile. Once you do that, you can then start looking for jobs. So basically, you see people who are also looking for the same job. So you have people who come to the website and say, oh, I need to create this, or I need to create a website, I need to create. So you can basically just use your skill to make money through the freelancing platform. So basically,
Okay.
the thing about web design is there's so many opportunities for you as a web designer, even with WordPress. Very recently, I came across a job opportunity in Canada, and they were looking for a web content specialist. Yes, that's the word. And when I looked through the requirements, I saw that WordPress, somebody who has experience in WordPress was also needed. These are jobs that people are now doing remotely. You can't say you're doing tech and you're not, looking for a remote job. You can do this on the side. You can, with WordPress, you can look for jobs that, require content management. Because one of the things we said when we started is that WordPress is a content management system. All right, it's a CMS. There are other content management systems as well. So there are job opportunities in and around the field. That was one of the jobs I saw this week alone. They were looking for a web content specialist. All right. There are other jobs that are also there. You have outright web designers with WordPress. You have web managers as well. You can be a web manager for people who have built their websites with WordPress. There was also a job I came across a few weeks ago. They were looking for a web manager. They built their website with WordPress, and they were looking for somebody who was going to manage it. And trust me, you can make a lot of money from it, from 100,000 naira and above monthly, managing somebody's WordPress website. So it's limitless. The sky is the limit when it comes to anything relating to tech. And you don't have to learn how to code to start making your millions. You can start, making your millions by learning some of the basic things like this that we're doing here, building websites, not necessarily coding it all the way. So let's just move on to the next feature that we're going to be working with. So far, so good. We've talked about the different widgets that we have. Let's also talk about this particular widget called the video widget. So the video widget so let's talk about the video widget first. So I'm just going to drag and drop the video widget here. So the video widget allows us to connect setting. Let me just delete this so that we have space for our video. So now, for example, you're working on a website and you want to showcase something from YouTube, for example. One of the things I always advise my clients or my students is that whenever you're building a website, try as much as possible not to put video content into your website. The reason why is because videos can be very heavy sometimes. Now, let's take a look at this particular picture that we're working with. Let's come here. So once I click on the picture, if you come here, you can see 88 kilobytes. That is the size of the image. Let's come to this other one. We can see 509 kilobytes. 509 kilobytes is also too big, especially when you have so many images on your website. It can be a bit too big, but 88 kilobytes is also very important. This is where a little bit of algorithm comes into play. Now, you have to ask yourself a question. At what point, now, as long as your image is clear and clean like it is here, you have no worries, all right? You have no problem at all. That's even if it's 88 KB and it's clean and clear, that's perfectly fine. But a situation where you have a blurry image, you should always try to avoid using blurry images. So if, for example, you have an image that is 1 MB and is very clear, you can still resize your image until it gets to about 300 or 200 MB. Now, imagine if you want to upload a video. Now, videos can be like 3 MB, 4 MB, 5 MB. It's never advisable that you use videos, on your website or on your web pages, because whenever you reload it, it will be slow. And also people will tend to, have to download the video before they can access it. And that's going to take a lot of megabytes. And when they come to your website, there are some websites that you visit and your MB tends to finish fast. That's why you have apps like Instagram sucking data. Instagram compared to WhatsApp, the data usage is usually very much on Instagram because the quality of the video is also very high compared to WhatsApp, where the quality is not as high, and other platforms as well. So using images, using videos is always not advisable. So one of the things that Elementor has made available to us is the ability to just store the link to the videos. So you're not storing the actual video on your database. All you're doing is you're storing the link to the video on your database. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put the link such that whenever they click on it, Elementor is going to pick up the video using the link you submitted. So if I put in another YouTube link, that is what is going to show here. If I have access to YouTube, I can just come to youtube.com. Let's see if we can get a video, any random video. And just come to our Elementor and just put it here. So remember, you must have all of these particular things, the https://www. So let's come to YouTube and let's pick this video, for example. We have a website. So all I need to do is I need to just copy the link. That's with the HTTP. Just copy it, come to my Elementor builder and erase this particular link and put my link. So instantly it shows here the video that I picked up. Russia invades Ukraine. That is what is going to show. That's the content of this particular video. And that's what's going to show here. So that's what you can do with videos. Now you can also determine the source. If you don't want to use YouTube and you want to use Vimeo, Dailymotion, you can use all of that. Now Vimeo and Dailymotion are not as popular as YouTube. YouTube is the most popular one. But the last feature that we have is this self-hosted, which is when you can now insert a video onto the database, which is not advisable. But we're also going to go through it. Now, we've put the link of what we want, but one of the things that we want to do is that we want to dictate the portion of the video. We don't just want it to show every aspect of the video. We want it to show a specific time. So we have, let's say 8, here we have 8:49:29. So let's come to Elementor and we see start time. So we have 8 from 8 minutes is in seconds. So we can put like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds and play it. That's the start time. And we can also put the end time as well. So this is where it's going to start from. And then we can put the end time as well to just put in random numbers. But this is basically how it's going to be when we start it. So when we start it, it takes us to this particular time that we put it here. Because if you see here, it shows specify the start time in seconds. So we're going to put seconds here and also the end time, specify the end time in seconds. So we can pick the portions of the video that we want to actually show on our website. So also, what kind of features do you want? Do you want it to autoplay? What it means is as soon as the page loads, do you want people to be able to, see the video? Should it play automatically? Should it play on mobile devices? All right. Should it autoplay? Do you want to mute it? You can also click yes. Do you want it to loop? Do you want it to play on and on and on? That's what looping means. So basically, you can do all of that. Do you want the privacy mode? All right. So it shows here that when you turn on the privacy mode, YouTube store information about visitors on your website. YouTube would store the information about the visitors. So that's basically what the privacy mode is all about. Do you want to keep it on privacy mode so that YouTube doesn't have, information about the visitors? But sometimes you want to put it on privacy mode. You want to turn off the privacy mode so that you can have your analytics. So you can be able to study how many people have been able to join your website or, go through your website. It just helps you have analytics as well. So lazy load feature as well just allows you to load, this particular lazy load feature, and then Let's just turn this off. So we don't need this anymore. And also an image overlay. So whenever we start the video from the beginning, we can see that it shows us something else entirely. Like it shows us something that we have no control over. So it just shows us a building. But let's say we want to put an image that actually we have control of, a finer image, a more presentable image. I'm just going to use this for testing, just to test it. So I'm just going to insert this, and automatically this is what shows here as our overlay image. So when people now click on the video, it now shows them the Russia invade Ukraine video. So let's just delete this. We don't need the video widget anymore. Is anybody lost so far?
No, sir.
Okay. So now we've done what we need to do regarding the videos. That's basically what you need to style a video. So we can just come here and just put it here, for example. So let's put it inside the structure and it opens. Now this is the content. Now the styling of a video just basically shows us what ratio you want it to show us. That's just basically what the styling is for. So if you want it to look like this, or you want it to have a 3:2, or you want it to have a 4:3, all of this is what you can do with the styling. So it just allows you style the shape or the appearance of the video, how it's going to look. That's the only thing under the style of every video. So let's move on to the next one, which is a button. So when we have buttons are very similar to text. All right, the buttons that you put on are, this is what we use when we talked about this particular feature. So the button that we use here, we can edit everything about it. We can change the typography. Let's say we want to change the font, for example, to Monito Sans. We can just change that here. Automatically it changes. So the style, the appearance, if I want the weight to be heavier, you can change the weight. If I want to change the size to 65, it can be bigger. If I want it to be smaller, it can be smaller. But let's just leave it at 20. Let's leave it that way. So we can change anything we want to change, just the same way we change texts. Once we come to typography of the button under style, it allows us to do all of these things. But if I want to change the click here to something else, let's say I want to change it to buy now, like the one above it. Let's just come here to buy now. So it's going to come here. So now I want my button to lead somewhere. So we have this link quality, or this link property, that allows me to link my website to anywhere exactly I want it to link to. So I can just come here and copy this whole thing. So I'm just going to copy it here. I'm going to paste my link here. The moment I paste my link and I update it, let's test how it's going to work. Now forgive me for the structure so far. It's just basically for us to test our features. We're not really working on the design of the website. So this is how it looks so far. And if I click on this button, automatically it takes me to this page. So we know that it works. So basically, this is what the link feature can do. So if I want to align it, if I want to move it to the center, I can do that. If I want to move it to the right, I can do that. If I want to move it to take the whole position of the structure, I can also do that. So let's just leave it in the center for now. I can also change the size. I can make it big, I can make it medium, I can make it small. Then let's come back to the style. So basically, I want to change the color and the text color as well. So I want to change the text color to black. I can do that with this line. I want to change the background color to white, or let's say to something else. I can do that as well. I can change it to any color I want to change it to. So I can also decide if I want it to be a gradient color, or I want it to be a classic color. So you're deciding what type of background you want for your button with these two features. Now the classic is just when you have just one color, while the gradient means that you have a bunch of colors, or usually two colors blending together. So here you can see that it shows here. Let's make our text color white first so that we can build something proper. And let's change the color of our background to black. And this second color, let's change it to another color, a darker color. So now we can see the gradient. It has multiple colors coming together to actually make it work. So we also have the location. We can dictate the location of the gradient. Do we want it to cover 100% of the button? Now we've seen that it has covered 100% of the button. Or do we want it to just cover just 70% of the button? Let this other one cover the remaining. So it shows here. So you have the ability to, shift it the way you want it to. As well, you can also shift this one to how you want it to, how you want to shift it. So the second color is going to be 50 as well. Let it be in the middle. So you have all of these features. Now, one of the ways you can become a better developer is by practicing a lot of these features, because all of these features, we might not be able to go through them. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you the basic, the ones that we know that we use in every single opportunity that we have. So every single time that we're working with something, every single time we're working with a button, these features that we talked about now are the features that you're going to deal with. Also, if you come to the content portion, there's what we call icon portion of your content. So we have an icon library. It's under content. We have an icon library. Then we can select the icon library and pick any icon that we want. So we can just insert it, and automatically it's going to show here as an icon. So I can also space the icon and the text with this icon spacing. So I can just do it here. I can also make the icon spacing come before or come after. It all depends on how I want to, structure it. This is how we can do what we can do with our button. So that's basically all we need to do regarding buttons for now. We also have dividers. Dividers basically help us to divide our content. They're like rulers or lines. So if, for example, I want to put an underline under a text, I can easily use this feature. I can just put this underline, or I want to demarcate my work a bit, I can also use this underline. So the underline, you can also reduce the width of the underline. You can move it to the center, or you can move it to the side. But let's use it to create something, an actual design. So for example, I have a text. So let's have a text, and I put my text here. So I'm going to drag and drop my heading widget, but I want my text to, be more presentable. So let me just duplicate this. I'm just going to duplicate this structure, and I'm going to delete this. So you can come to this edit sign and just click on right click and then delete it. So it gives you an empty structure. I just wanted to duplicate the structure. So now I'm going to drag and drop this divider into this portion of the website. So now we have the divider underneath this text. So I want it to look fancier. It shouldn't just cover the whole thing. So basically I want it to just be underneath it. So I move it to the center. Now it's under the text. All I need to do now is just drag it up using the margin feature so that it looks more like an underlined text. Now, it doesn't look so fancy. When we're working on actual websites, we're going to make it look even better than it looks just right now. We're just trying to make it look, we're just trying to see the ways that we can use the divider. So that's just basically what you can do with the divider. The divider also has its own style functionalities. Now, the styling of a divider, you can just basically, handle or like show or manipulate the weight of the divider. You can also handle the gap. That's the gap above and below the divider. That's between it and the next feature. So for example, if I come here to this particular feature, and I come to this one and let's take it back to how it was. This is default, right? So if I just come here and I come to the weight, I can leave it as, okay, this, and let's say the gap, we can just reduce the gap, and it can help us reduce the gap between the text and the actual widget. So basically those are the main things that we need to work with. Now the last feature or the last widgets that we are going to work with, okay, we have 3 more widgets to work with, not the last one. The next one we're going to work with is a spacer. Now what a spacer does is that a spacer just creates space between 2 different structures. So for example, I want to create a space between this particular structure and this particular structure. All I need to do is I can just basically put in a spacer in between. So I don't know if you saw, but let's just do it one more time. So basically all I need to do is just come to this spacer, drag and drop it anywhere I want my spacer to be. So I can just come here and put a spacer. So automatically it comes here. Now notice that the spacer doesn't have any style because there's no how you want to style a spacer. All right, so you can now manipulate the size of your spacer. If I want it to be very much, I can create a spacer. You can see this is the PX in between both structures. If I want to reduce the size, the content, the spacer size, I can also do that. So there are times we're going to use a spacer. It's very important that we use spacers. Even here, when we're building this particular web page, we want to build a space between this feature and this feature. We don't want it to just be together because it's too jam-packed. So what I can do is I can just basically, let's delete this, for example. Let's delete this too. Let's delete this too. So basically what I need to do is I just need to come here and add this positive button, and it's going to give me the opportunity to add a structure. So now we have an empty structure. All I need to do is just come here and drag and drop a spacer, and I can now, increase the spacer. Now the space between this one, these structures, and this one is now, very bold and clear. It's straightforward. So it just gives us a neater approach when we're working with spacing. Spaces are very important. You can see here that there's space between these products and this image. There's space. It's always important that we work with space. Even this particular feature and this feature has some bit of space. So spacing is one of the most important things you should actually learn to use, because there are some times where the space is too much, it becomes ugly. Sometimes the space is too small, it becomes ugly as well. So the space has to be just right. There's space between this as well, and there's space between this as well. So there are spaces in, almost every portion of the website. So when we come back to our Elementor, we can just update, and automatically it's going to load our page for us. You can see here that it's loading. So let's just come to the top of the page and allow the website to load. So it has loaded, and we can see that we have this feature already. You can see here. So now, one of the things I also want us to work with is, okay, let's just finish the widgets that we have so that we can start working on perfecting our designs. So the next feature that I want us to work with, next widget I want us to work with is the Google Maps widget. So all you need to do is just drag and drop it. So the moment you drag and drop the Google Map widget, it gives you a map. It can be a map of anywhere. You can put your location anywhere. I type Lagos, and you can see it takes us to Lagos immediately. So you can zoom your map in or out. Okay, so that's basically how the maps work. You can also dictate the height of the map. If you want your map to be long or short, you can also dictate that as well. Then the styling of a map is usually CSS filters as well. So we're going to talk about that when we're dealing with CSS. So the last but not the least portion, or last but not the least widget, is the icons widget. So basically the icons widget just allows you to create certain icons on your page. So for example, if you come to this particular page, you can see here we have this icon. It's a clock icon. So basically, you can also do that with Elementor as well. You can just come to the icon library and let's just see if you can search for a clock. So it gives us this particular clock and then we can insert it. So we can also style it. Now the icon can lead us somewhere. You can decide that it should lead us to the home page or lead us to Google or anywhere. So you can also style it as well. You can dictate the size that you want it to be. You know, you can do that. You can also dictate the color. For example, the color of this one has like a yellow color. So let's just look for something in that range. So basically, you can do that with this. This is not the exact color, but let's just work with this for now. What else do we need? Also on hover, do you want it to have a different appearance on hover? If you want it to have a different color, once you hover on it, you can also work with that feature as well. So we've talked about all the features under basic. In the next class, we're going to talk about the features under general. They're not very common features. They're not features that are very, very necessary. But these basic features are features that you're going to use time and time again. You can also search for a particular feature. Instead of scrolling down, you can just come here and just type button. And it's going to give you the button feature. You can drag and drop it and it works fine. You can edit it and style it how you want it. So any questions so far? So far, so good. Do we have any questions, any confusions, any problems?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, I just want to confirm that everybody's microphone is working fine. Yomi, can you hear me? Isaac, can you hear me? Oluchi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So no, any challenge so far? Is everything moving smoothly?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So basically, we're going to know if anybody's having any challenges when the assignment comes. Basically, the assignment is going to be submitted on Monday. Just work on any of the structures. It's going to be any of these three structures. You can design any of these three. And also you can design these structures as well. So basically, just design these three structures are very important. Just design these three structures as it is and design any one of these three. That's the assignment for Monday. So let's do a recap so far. Let's do a recap, basically. Working with Elementor for the first time, working with a dashboard. So for the purpose of anybody who might be lost, who might not be following so far, let's just go over it one last time. And we call the class a close. Okay, so basically when you're working with WordPress, WordPress is a content management system. It helps you manage your content. Your content can come in different forms. Videos are contents, images are contents, texts are contents. You know, anything is a content basically, as long as it can be uploaded and used on your WordPress website. So WordPress originally started as a blogging platform like we discussed in the last class. And that's one of the reasons why we have these posts and comments in our WordPress. All right, it allows you to be able to create a blog out of it. And in the last class, we talked about using a particular plugin called Elementor. So you just come to add new. And when you click on add new, you have the opportunity to install a plugin called Elementor. So when you click on add new, just come here and search for Elementor Builder. So just type Elementor, and it's going to give you all the various plugins that you have so far. So this is the website we created for Oluchi to test. So let's just upload Elementor here as well. So you're just starting the website. This is just the beginning of the website. You're just starting from the very beginning. So you come to your dashboard, come to plugins, come to add new, and install Elementor Builder. So when you install your Elementor Builder, it's going to show activate. You can also come here and install essential add-ons for Elementor. We're going to use this in the next class. So just install this one, don't activate it. So we're going to start with Elementor Website Builder. So you can install it. It might take some time. When you do that, install it. After you install it, you activate it, and then it means you're good to go. So while we're waiting for it to install and activate, you can also come here to pages. So like we said earlier in the class, we said that websites are just basically a combination of different web pages. So before you can work on any website, you need to work on a page first. So you can come to pages and click on all pages or add new pages. So if you come to add new pages, it takes you directly to the page that you want to create. If you come to all pages, it takes you to all the pages that you have so far. So now we have our Elementor website builder. All we need to do now is activate it. So I can come here and activate it. So it says that it's going to take me out of this page. So yes, I want to activate it. So it's going to load and it's going to activate. So when I come to my pages, I can come here and create my first page. So all I need to do is just come to add new or come here as well. So when I add a new page, I'm going to have to tell Elementor what name I want it to be called. And also have to define certain structures of that particular page. So here are the sample pages that come by default. My page is still loading. It's taking some time to load. So now there are so many plugins that Elementor has available. Now, because Elementor is also open source, just like WordPress, what Elementor has done is that Elementor has given room for a lot of these people to contribute to the builder. So all of these plugins work well with Elementor. Now, this is Elementor's plugin. This is their website. You can visit their website to find out more about the builder so that you can learn more about it. This is their website. It's created by elementor.com. This is their plugin. They created this. Now, this particular Elementor plugin was created by WP Developer. So it's open source and it's also a very fantastic plugin that allows you to work with Elementor very well. So we also have, so like we said, Elementor Builder. This is the Elementor Builder website and it shows you all the beautiful features that you have. It allows you build anything you want to build. You know, you have 90 plus widgets available to you. It has a live drag and drop feature, you know, pixel perfect designs, you know, unlimited web creations. You can create for your portfolio or your CV. You can create a creative website. You can create an e-commerce website. You can create a website for events and entertainment. You can create a landing page, just a one-page website. You can also create blogs and media with it, and also websites for health and wellness. So basically, you can do almost anything. So it's a very fantastic tool that you can use. And once you have good understanding of Elementor, it gives you an edge. So you also have the community hub where you can, you know, interact with people that are more experienced at it than yourself or even myself. So now we have the Elementor activated. That's why it took us to this plugins page. Now this is the page that we're in. We're in installed plugins page. So now that you've come to the installed plugins page, you can now come to your pages, which we have done here, and we can add a new page. So I'm just going to add a page called home. So when you do that, you also need to come here to the template page and just put it at Elementor full width. So now if you come to permalink, you see the link of the website. So because we're using localhost, it shows oluchi.local/home. So if we're using a website, it'd be oluchi.com/home. So basically, this is what we have so far. So once you've done that, always remember to publish it. So once you publish it, it shows you page published, and it gives you the link of what you've published, and you can copy the link or you can view the page, anyone. So once you've done that, just come straight to Elementor. Now, on the Elementor builder, that's where you can now get started by building all of these amazing structures. So that is how to get started with WordPress. This is just for the purpose of Amara and also for people who are not yet very familiar with it. So we just went over it one last time. So now I've come to the page, I've come to the website. Because the theme I'm using is not very fancy, it's just showing me just the title of my website and this particular, feature. If I come to my pages, if I come to appearance and I go to themes, let's come to appearance and come to themes, and I want to make my page more fancy, all I need to do is come here and add a new theme. So like we said, a theme just gives you the template or the background structure of how your website is going to look like. So I can now come here and I say, okay, what kind of website do I want to build? I want to build a restaurant website. So sorry, first we're using food restaurant, now we're using a restaurant website. I think I like food, but basically this is what we're going to be working with. So when you come to themes, you can just search for anything. You can search for hospital, search for, oil and gas website or anything, and then just install. So once you install, you activate. So anything that you install, you must also activate. Now, if you're using localhost, the beautiful thing about localhost is you can design without using a website, without using internet. But when it comes to installation and activation of plugins, most of the time you need to use internet to do so. There's another way of adding plugins and themes which we've not spoken about, which is called uploading of plugins and themes. We've not talked about that yet, and we're going to talk about it in the next class. So basically, you can just come here, and once it's activated, it's going to change the appearance of my page, and I can start working with all the widgets that I have available here. So ahead of the next class, you can also come here to General and just play around with some of these amazing widgets that we have here. Just look at how it looks like, see how it looks like, and see how you can also edit it and modify it the way you want it to be. So now we've installed this, all we need to do now is activate it. So the moment we activate it, now we've activated it, it shows welcome to Digi Restaurant. Now it's telling me to get the premium version. It's telling me to move one step higher, which I don't really want to do now. But it shows me some of the features of the theme. So it shows some of the things I can do with the basic version, and some of the things I can't do. I can't get premium support. I can't get a fully SEO optimized website. I won't be able to see the recent post widgets. I won't get some easy Google fonts. I won't get page speed plugin, and also so many other things. So it means that what they're trying to do is they've given us some features that the website comes with by default, but they're saying that if you want to benefit from all of these things, we need to upgrade to the premium version. Well, let's not do that for the purpose of this tutorial. Let's just move on. So now we've come to Elementor, and let's preview page so that we can see how the website looks. Now, can you see how it looks? Now it has changed. It's now showing a slightly better design than what we had previously. So obviously this is what we had before, and this is what we have now. So if I just come here and edit the Elementor, it's going to show me something different. This is what it's going to show me. Okay, still loading. Still loading. But basically, it's just going to appear like this. This portion of the website is going to appear here. Yes, it's going to appear here. So that's one of the things that we need to learn about themes. Let's just cancel, or let's just wait for it to. So basically, that's just all we need to do about this class. Subsequently, we're going to talk about this advanced section. I thought we could talk about it today, but we're going to talk about it probably in the next class. We've learned a few things today. We've learned about the hover feature. We practiced more with the structures. We've worked on a very tricky structure. This is one of the trickiest structures on this website that I saw. And this structure is one of the trickiest. And if you can build that particular structure, trust me, you can build any structure. Very soon, we're going to talk about how to also embed your Instagram page to your website, how to embed a WhatsApp link. So we're going to have WhatsApp here. So when people click on it, it's going to take you to the particular WhatsApp number that you registered here. So those are just plugins as well that we used, and we're going to do that subsequently in the next class. This is still loading. It's taking so long to load. So basically, that's all we need to do from scratch to where we are at this point in time. So I think that should be that about that. In the next class, we'll start with the advanced feature and we'll talk about everything. It's going to take a while for us to understand some of the concepts. So we're going to take it step by step. The things that we've already talked about, in other parts of the website. For example, we've talked about motion effects. We've talked about the fading, how it's going to fade, how it's going to, do a whole lot of all of these things and how we want it to operate. Then the transform just allows us to, dictate how certain things will look like. So we're going to, even the background as well, we're going to talk about it. So we're just going to go into more advanced concepts in the next class. So next class, we're talking about responsive nature of websites. We're going to be talking about the advanced section of the Elementor builder, and we're going to be working with plugins, different plugins that we can work with. So that should be that about today's class. So any questions? Do we have any questions? Any questions so far?
No questions, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Yomi? Isaac, Oluchi, any questions? Any contributions? Any suggestions?
No, none from me.
Okay, all right.
How are we
I
getting the assignment?
No, the name of the team that.
Okay, wait. Okay, sorry, Yomi. I'm coming. Let me answer Oluchi. Okay, regarding the assignments. The assignment is just basically to build this. I'm going to send this particular link to the group. I'm going to send it now just after the class.
Okay.
It's just basically for us to build. So the goal is, one of the things I want us to do before we leave, I want us to do it casually. I want us to just build this page, this website. I want us to build this website very casually using Elementor Builder. Do you think it's possible for us to do that?
We'll
Yeah, I
try.
think so.
Yes, so I just want us to build this particular website. So I just want us to be building it bit by bit. So I want us, as we work on a particular structure, let's, put it on the side. It's going to be different from our projects. It's going to be different from our group projects and also our individual projects. Let's just be using this tool. Because when you leave here, one of the things that people will ask you for is your portfolio. What have you done? So the more websites you've worked on, the better. So you have it at the back of your, you have it in your portfolio pack, that these are the things that you've done so far as a tech person, as a tech individual. You should have a very good portfolio. So also we're going to also do this and all of that. So I just want us to build this structure of the website. You can leave out this how it works. Just build this structure, this one and this one, the three of them. Just build it using the inspect feature and also the Elementor builder. Build this structure and also build any of these three structures. You can build any of these three structures. I hope that's clear.
All right. Are you going to send us the link?
Yes, I'm going to send the link to the group now, just after
All
the
right,
class.
Okay. Please,
Okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
During the class, I noticed that you were mentioning something about HTML, CSS, and the likes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my question now is this: does it suffice to for someone that wants to become like a WordPress developer? Does WordPress alone suffice, or the person has to go extra by learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the likes?
Okay, so this is how web technology works, or front end or websites work. There's what we call web development, and then we have web design, so to say. Web design encompasses a lot of things. Whenever you have to do a website or create the look of a website without having to code or anything, that's basically web design. You're not coding anything. Whenever you have to start, coding HTML, CSS, that's web development. It means you're now developing the website. So this stage that we're in now is basically web design with WordPress. Some people call it web development with WordPress as well. You're developing a website with WordPress. It's still fine. It's still acceptable. All right. But me, I like to call it web design. Now, one of the things that WordPress does is that it helps you, if you have good knowledge of HTML and CSS, it's an added advantage. So you don't need HTML and CSS to build anything WordPress. You don't need it at all. But when you have good knowledge of HTML and CSS, it just gives you an edge. Basically, you stand out, because one of the things that HTML and CSS helps you do is that it helps you manipulate your WordPress websites in different ways. So you're not just looking at designing the website, because the thing about WordPress is that sometimes WordPress is very restrictive. It restricts you to certain things. It has been designed for you. So there are some things that you cannot do on WordPress. That's just the truth. It doesn't give you that creative freedom to do anything that you want to do. It comes with limitations. So what HTML and CSS does is that it helps you to break free to an extent of those limitations. So for example, if I have a structure and I've tried to do it on HTML with WordPress and it's not working, I can resort to trying to use a little bit of HTML and CSS to create it. So when you have a good knowledge of HTML and CSS, it just helps you create websites better. It helps you never get stuck, because you are going to use your HTML and CSS knowledge to, create a better design, manipulate your way through. Because just like we talked about that particular structure, the structure that had 4, that we thought was 3 and was 4, sometimes you're going to be dealing with structures that you have to manipulate your way around. There are some things that are not going to be very clear, but you have to manipulate. It's all about getting your results. So once you can design something that looks exactly the way the client has told you, this is how I want it, then you have an edge. And one of the ways to manipulate is using HTML and CSS. That's why I always like to incorporate it into the classes. It's always important that HTML and CSS is added, because you must learn 1 or 2 things about it. And you're not really a web developer if you don't know HTML and CSS. Okay. While you left, I just said you're not really a web developer if you don't have an idea of HTML and CSS. But you can create websites, but you need to have an idea of HTML and CSS. It's a plus. So we're just going to learn just a bit of HTML and CSS with this course, so that we can just, get used to it. It's the best way to start coding, start your coding career. We're even going to start coding without even knowing about coding. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Say one more thing, sir, please.
Okay.
Okay. On the local host. So
Yes.
if we want to install Elementor, do we need to connect the internet to install
Yes.
Elementor and other plugins? Okay.
Yeah, whenever you are installing plugins or themes, you have to connect to the internet. Once you have installed it and activated it, you can disconnect from the internet. So whenever you need a plugin, just use localhost. Just use the internet to install and activate it. Then once you're done, you can disconnect from the internet.
All right.
There's also another way of installing plugins, but we've not gotten there yet. It's called upload of plugins. So for example, I have a lot of plugins I've worked with on numerous projects, and I have all of them. I have the zip file. I have the zip version of all of these products and all of these plugins and themes. So all I need to do is just upload them to my system. So if I'm working on localhost, for example, I don't need internet because the zip file is already on my system. So we're going to look for a way that we can send zip files to you. I don't know if anyone has any idea how to send zip files. I've tried to send them via email. They've not worked. I've heard Telegram might work, but I'm not very sure of that. So if anybody has an idea of how to send zip files, you can also let us know so that I can send, because I have a lot of themes, I have a lot of plugins that once I send it to you, it makes your life easy. I don't want us to start with that because it's going to make, instead of making your life easy, it's going to make your life lazy. So I want us to start with the hard part. So let's start with the technical, do it yourself. Then when we've done that, we can now build. Let me show you one of the websites I'm currently working on so far.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me share my screen. Okay. This is just to motivate you. I hope you can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, this is just to motivate you so you can have an idea of some of the things you're going to be working with. So this is where we are so far. Still going to remain the hero section missing, but you can see it just basically does some things that just something very simple, not too loud, not too. So it just basically gives you some of these features. So you can have it. Thank you very much. The text, I'm still waiting for some other images as well, some other pictures, because that's what we're waiting for right now from the client. But this is just basically where we are so far. So it's one of the things that before the end of this class, we should build. That particular website, we're going to have to look for a way that we can build it. We'll build it. There's a theme for that as well. All I need to do is give you the theme, and you just need to know how to use it, and you can develop your website out of it. What I showed you now is not difficult at all. Anybody can do it once you have the right training, and you can do it for your customer. Your customer will be happy, and that's it. So once I find a way to start sending zip files, we'll look for how we can send zip files to every one of you so that you can start working on all the plugins and you won't need internet at all. All you need to do is just upload them into your local host and activate them, and that's fine.
Thank you, sir.
So you're welcome. You're very welcome. So that will be all for today's class.
Can I say something, please?
Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Concerning how you mentioned how how we can send a zip file, I was thinking that perhaps you could get them uploaded on the Google Drive and you can get them
on
from
Google
there.
Drive. Okay, I'll try that. I think I've tried that before. I don't know what happened, but I'll try that again and see what error I got.
There's another one too. There's another platform there's this mega dot I think that's.
Okay, Mega, I think I know I've downloaded one or two things from there before. Yeah, I think Mega, I should try that. Has a red icon. Okay, I'll look for how to do that so that I can send them to you. It's going to be very important because those plugins and those themes, if you are to buy them, they'll probably be like, when I showed you that, I showed a website last week where we saw a lot of things, $50, $30. Some of them, that's how much they actually are. Some of those things are like $30. Some of those things are like $50. Imagine when you now have like 5 of those themes. That's like $150 that you don't even need to pay for. You don't need to buy again. You can just use them for your website, for your clients. Or plugins. Plugins are kind of expensive too. They're more expensive sometimes. So some of those plugins that are premium, you get a chance to get them for free. All I need to do is just send you the zip file. And we're going to be able to do that. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you next week. I'm expecting my assignment on Monday.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Give us the assignment. Send this.
I'll send the link now.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Looking forward to the
Bye-bye.
class next week.
All All right, looking forward to it too.
Bye.
Bye bye. You have a nice day.